Hello, I'm Ali, the producer, director, cameraman, scriptwriter, and pretty much everything you can think of the music video Drank by Triple Duba. I recently created a music video for Triple Duba in which I highlighted the social issue of alcoholism. This was done through different elements and effects which I will further explain in this monologue. I'm going to start off by explaining what are conventions. So they're the typical things that the audience expects to see in a media product. My initial vision for my music video had a combination of narrative, performative, and a bit of experimental aspects in the storyline of the video. Before planning my music video, I did a research to find out more about conventions of hip-hop music videos. I also analyzed some hip-hop videos which had a similar theme to the one I'm attempting to portray, in order to get some ideas and references for shots which I could use in my own video. Some of the most obvious ones would be on-beat editing, the involvement of female actresses, and the showing of illegal substances or products which are only legal to faces over the age of 18. I decided to use some of these conventions as I thought they would be helpful elements to make my music video fit into the world of hip-hop music videos, and in order to make the audience relate to what's being shown on screen. However, I also decided to challenge conventions to bring an originality into my product and make it slightly differentiated from other music videos of the same genre. The main convention that I challenged was the fact that I did not have women in my music video. The first convention I used was in the opening few shots of the music video. The video started off with the artist, who is also the main actor, in a club-like atmosphere. This establishing shot on its own uses conventions as it instantly reveals the artist in the dark room with party lights, suggesting that the music video will consist of more similar shots. This is then backed up with the fact that the artist is drinking alcohol, which is an action commonly found in hip-hop music videos. To add to that, I used a portable light set faced at the artist in a dark room to put emphasis on the subject, which was supported with a dark vignette filter in the editing process. This follows the convention of one of Andrew Goodwin's points in his theory, which is having a star icon. The lighting falls perfectly on the subject, leaving the rest of the room dark, including what's shown on screen. Later on in the music video, cigarettes could be seen with the artist and the artist's friend, which again makes the music video fit more into the hip-hop world and teenage contemporary culture, hence they meet the expectations of the audience. Another major convention that I used was the combination of scenery and props, where I was successfully able to reflect on a specific social class. In one of these scenes in the music video, I filmed in an old garage which has old walls, a dusty floor, and many boxes for storage, in order to represent a specific drug dealing and illegal vibe. This vibe is also often represented in other music videos, such as in White Girls by Belly and Goosebumps by Travis Scott. Specifically in this scene, I represented the lower class, which was raised in the streets, as many rappers like to say, which could be seen not only through the scenery but also through props. The clothing of the actors is very baggy, also known as oversized clothes nowadays, and is very much liked by rappers especially. With all respect, the lower class are known for wearing clothes which aren't their size due to the fact that they can't afford to keep updating their wardrobe whenever their body shape changes. Therefore, they prefer to have clothes a couple of sizes bigger than their actual size in order for it to last more. One of the actors is wearing an Adidas tracksuit, which generally has connotations to the streets as mentioned before. Since this brand has connotations to the streets, it contributes to the representation of the lower class social group. In addition to all of this, the use of props was probably the most effective element used to help represent the lower class. It is known to almost everyone that people from the lower class don't really drink alcohol in restaurants or cafes, as it's usually expensive. They prefer drinking in the streets or in places where they do not have to pay for catering. Overall, the three mise-en-scène elements of scenery, props, and costumes all help contribute to the reflection of the lower class group in my music video. Moving on, throughout the whole music video, in the parts where the artists had to act, you can see that they're imitating drunk people through the acting and performance skills more than anything. The performance of the actors fits in perfectly with the theme of alcoholism. All these elements were purposefully used in order to appeal to the targeted audience of teenagers to young adults of both genders, however inclined more towards men due to the fact that the music video includes interests which men would find easier to relate to, considering the main actors are all men. The gender representation is very stereotypical and simple to understand. Since there were no females in the music video, I could only portray the role of men in the present society. I took the stereotypical approach of representing the male gender being alcoholics and drug addicts. As mentioned previously, this was done through the performance aspect of the actors and through elements of the mise-en-scène, particularly through props and scenery. Okay, so enough with the usage of conventions in my music video, and let me tell you a bit about the challenges to conventions. The main convention that I challenged that could possibly be a risky decision was the fact that I did not include female actresses in my music video. 99.9999999% of music videos consist of women, whether they're objectified and over-sexualized or not, they still feature in the music video. Since the theme of my music video was the social issue of alcoholism, I found that there was no need for women in my video, as it would just serve as a distraction to what I'm highlighting and putting emphasis on. Also, if I would have had female actresses in my music video, it would ruin two things. The first being the importance of the message of alcoholism being bad, as the audience would think that I'm objectifying and materializing women. And the second would be the artist's differentiated image of not outlining the number of girls he has, his wealth, and the cars he owns. Additionally, another convention would be in the editing process of the music video, where I set most of the shots in slow motion to match the melody and the music speed, which is very uncommon. Usually slow motion shots are balanced out with normal pace shots. However, in my music video, more than 3/4 of the shots are in slow motion, which is a huge risk as it's an effect never used before in the music industry as far as I know. For the creation of the digipack and the website, I also had to follow conventions in order to fit in the hip-hop world. However, it was a bit simpler in these areas, as you often find album covers and websites of different artists, which are quite similar due to the fact that you can't experiment as much in those platforms. The conventions that I used for both the digipack and the website are the typical placement of elements such as the album and artist name. Also, some conventions include the parental advisory sticker, which I am required to feature because of the laws and regulations. In the website, I featured navigation pages that are commonly found in many artists' websites. Some of the pages include a biography section, a section for all the artists' music, and a page with links to all the artists' social media accounts. I found that in the website of the artist, you can't really break conventions with the content of the site, but you can mostly experiment with the design of it. The content is more or less the same in every artist's site, and the only difference is the style, design, color scheme, and the font of the website. One of the main conventions that I challenged in my digipack would be the color scheme of it. You rarely find digipacks with only two colors throughout the whole cover. However, this was done for a reason, and the reason is to stick to the same design and colors within all three platforms to create a sense of branding. I'm sure I can talk about branding some other time. These are pretty much all the elements and effects I wanted to put emphasis on, as I feel like they would be undervalued if I do not explain them in a bit more detail. So thank you everyone for your attention, and see you soon.